I am here today with the lovely Lou from Moon on a Stick, and I'm in her wonderful room. Lou and I have only met for the first time today, but we do have a mutual friend. So I have been following Lou for quite a while on Facebook, and you follow me as well, so you kind of know what I'm doing. So it's really nice for us to be here together today and sitting with a herbal tea and having a bit of a chat. So I just want to know a bit more about you, really, Lou, and about Moon on a Stick, but also about why you set up and just more about you, really, which is what the podcast is all about. So wherever you're happy to start.
Okay, cool, right. Well, thanks for having me, Fran. It's lovely to meet you. I feel very calm and relaxed, which is interesting.
No, that's how I want people to feel. There's lots of people come on and they feel really, really nervous.
Yeah.
And they think that I've got kind of an expectation of them, and I don't.
Yeah, no, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let me have a sip. Moon on a Stick I opened last year, so it's quite new, and it's my holistic healing business here in my back garden, at home, purpose built, and it's bringing all of my experience, all of my lived experience, all of my healing journey and my previous life as a manager. I had my own business actually at 18. I had my own beauty salon above my dad's shop.
That's really young as well. Yeah. What amazing.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was really young. And I think because my parents were self-employed, you know, I kind of had that instilled into me. This is how work is, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I opened up there and I was really busy. I was doing the typical beauty therapy things, waxing, facials, massage, but I had a particular interest in aromatherapy and reflexology at that time. And we're talking in the 90s here, you know, so opening a business then was...
Was that in Swindon?
No, that was not in Swindon, that was in Lempston, Herefordshire.
Okay.
So that's where I'm from originally. So I was up there, market town, beautiful black and white buildings. So lovely place to grow up. Although small towns, everyone knows your business, you know. But so that's where I started. And so I feel like I've come full circle, really, of like opening my own business again.
Yeah.
I kept telling myself, I've done this before, it'd be easy. But it's so totally different now, you know, decades later. Obviously, we didn't have social media as much, and we had, you know, you paid to advertise in a newspaper, or you had your business cards, and I did lots of talks for the Arthritic Association. And I remember I was really green. I was full of confidence, and I stood there and I said, so these particular oils are really good for arthritis, but they're also really good for flatulence. And they all burst into laugh. And I didn't know what flatulence was.
Oh, really?
I didn't know.
You didn't realise you'd made a joke?
Yeah. So I stood there and was going, what? Flatulence was really good. Rosemary is really good for flatulence, if anyone needs to know.
Broke the ice?
Broke the ice, yeah. So, and then I got a couple of clients from that. They came for massage and stuff.
Brilliant.
With the rosemary.
Yeah.
And the lavender.
They were like, she's a stand-up comedian as well, so here we go. This is great. All encompassing.
Yeah. Didn't know I had that skill, you know. So that was how I set up. So now it's bringing everything together. My lived experience, you know, I grew up as a child of an alcoholic. In secrecy, in a family of addiction, and that shaped me in particular ways, and that's sort of been something that I've really started to heal from. I've done a lot of work around my mum. I can see now that her drinking, because it's my mum that was the alcoholic, was her way of surviving, you know, and actually she could have been more the victim than anything else. And how that shaped me and how that plays out in my relationships, in how I am as a person, you know, people pleasing. And I've done a lot of work around my own boundaries. I've done a lot of work about my people pleasing and how I have this urge to fix people and rescue people, because it was my mum who I wanted to rescue back then. And I think that I chose the beauty therapy career. Well, I didn't have enough qualifications to be a nurse, which I was quite drawn to. So I went to hair and beauty college. And again, it's a kind of way of looking after people.
Yes.
You know, massage.
Making them feel nice about themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So kind of that's my origin story is Daughter of the Bottle. So I have a Facebook page, an Instagram, and it's really about my journey on discovering that I am a COA. I didn't realise that existed, or an adult child of an alcoholic, ACOA, and that there are many of us out there.
Yeah.
And that the nature of addiction is so secret and so hidden.
Yeah.
And there are 1 in 5 children in every class, in the UK growing up with an addicted parent.
I didn't know that was the stat for that, actually. I was listening the other day, still talking about the same thing. I was listening to, I don't know if you listen to Davina, she's got Begin Again,
Yes.
her podcast, and she had Sean Walsh on there, the comedian. So his father was a heroin addict.
Gosh.
And it wasn't spoken about, but when they got to age 11, going to secondary school, it was then made clear, you do not speak about this, because then you were going to a different school, becoming more self-aware. So his parents parented quite differently, I think, but they were still together, and his dad isn't a heroin user anymore, and his dad gave permission for him to talk about all of this and said he's Irish and you can do whatever you want, you talk about whatever you want. So he had that freedom to discuss what it was like for him and the impact.
Yes.
So
yes, powerful.
I'm following this other page you have, so I will listen to that. And obviously Davina herself, her mother, and then herself.
Yeah.
She was a heroin addict, Davina was, and her mum was an alcoholic, wasn't she? So just listening to people's stories and how it affected them. But it's interesting, isn't it, about kind of like the line of work you've taken, and had that not been the case and you hadn't grown up in that way, where would you be now and what job you'd be doing? It's so interesting, isn't it? And it's horrific what you've been through, but at the same time, like you say, it shapes you into becoming who you are now.
Absolutely, yeah, totally. Shapes all of us, and I think it's amazing to be able to talk about your story, because it brings about that change in how shameful people feel, you know, and how the family secret is so unhealthy to keep, keep quiet for all those. I mean, I didn't tell people for decades, I didn't tell people until I moved to London, and I told my flatmate. I didn't tell boyfriends, I didn't tell, friends.
No.
And that was, it was unspoken. I wasn't ever told not to mention it, but because of the way my parents were, I could tell that they weren't addressing it. They weren't talking to me or my brother about it. Therefore, it is a secret, and it's something that is unspoken and we don't share.
Yeah.
And also, I was petrified that if I did tell somebody, my mum she'd be taken away.
Yeah.
And that was the reality of how I felt,
Yeah.
you know. But I also felt that it was my fault, because as a child, you have an undeveloped brain and everything's internalized. And, I remember standing in my bedroom when I was 7, and this is actually how my book starts, because I'm writing my memoir about it. This is really weird, Fran. I've got a bird on the washing line there that resembles my mum's. That's her spirit animal.
Oh my gosh.
It's and she was just watching me. Sorry, I've gone all spiritual.
I just saw that as I turned and disturbed it. Yeah.
It's called a blue tit.
Yes.
That's my mum. Anyway, there she is, and giving me her blessing. So she passed away, by the way, in 2013 in her early 60s. Yeah. Where was I? So
your memoirs.
Yeah, so my memoir starts with the vow in my bedroom, and I say to myself that I have to fix my mum because I'd caused it.
Age 7.
Yeah.
So you think if you can be better and do better, that will make change. Yeah.
Be the perfect daughter. Be the good girl. Be the good girl at school. Be the good girl everywhere. Be the one they want you to be. Don't cause any more stress. And then I tried to fix her by trying to control the situation, so counting the amount she drank. I used to keep a little log.
Did you?
When she was in the kitchen, I would look around the house to see where her bottles were stored. They were in the laundry cupboard. They were under a pillow under the bed. And I used to tip the alcohol out and put water in it, and nothing was ever said. Bearing in mind my father was in this addiction sort of family as well. He wasn't addicted to alcohol, but he drank heavily. And they were both, we're in a small town. They've got businesses.
Yeah.
My dad's in the menswear trade. He's got menswear shops. They're in Round Table Ladies Circle, which was organisations for fundraising. They are middle class, they're affluent. On the outside, it looks like there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
Because drinking is very socially accepted, especially back then. They used to have dinner parties, progressive suppers. It would start with the aperitif, and then you'd have wine during the dinner. Everybody getting, gradually more drunk, and then you'd have the port and the brandy and carry on drinking. And with that came the sort of bad choices and bad behaviour, I think, as well.
Were you sent to your room when this was happening, or were you allowed to be mixed in with this?
Generally sent to our room, separated. Separated. And this could happen in the daytime as well. So someone could, people could turn up on a Sunday afternoon, and then you were sent off, and they would do their thing. It would involve loud music. It would involve, daytime drinking, not a lot of food. So my brother and I witnessed a lot of things that children shouldn't see. No. Sexual things that children shouldn't see. And I think, that scars you,
Of course.
That was a bit of my kind of background. And that vow, I think, stayed with me for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Until I found NACOA, which is the National Association for Children of Alcoholics. Because also when I was 13, I rang AA. So my mum and dad had gone out somewhere. So when I was 13, I'd seen them advertised either in the Yellow Pages or an advert on TV. I can't remember. And I rang AA and I said, my mum needs help. She's an alcoholic. How do I help her? And he said, well, you can't help her. She's got to be the one that calls us, not you. How old are you? And I was like, I'm 13. He said, oh, there's this charity, there's that, and I just wasn't taking it in because I thought I was going to save her by this phone call.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to come
and give you all the answers.
All the answers, yeah. And so that happened when I was 13. So during lockdown at 46, I realised that I could actually, look after myself in this. She'd already passed away. And I actually, at 46, phoned NACOA's helpline. They're the only charity that have a helpline open 24/7, 365 days of the year for children to call and adults to call. And they get a lot of adult calls because we keep it secret for so long, and don't talk about it. And it was incredible, and that really started being heard for the very first time. Yeah. Opened all of the healing up for me. Yeah. So I called NACOA, they helped me. I started to write how I felt. That's where the book's coming from, the memoir. I went to Al-Anon, which is sort of AA, but for the families affected by alcohol or friends, which is amazing. They've got a group in Swindon. They meet twice a week. Lovely group of people. And again, I was able to express myself and talk about my experiences that I'd kept, sort of hidden away for so long. Yeah. And then I went to talking therapy at Ipsum. And I did a lot of, my spiritual healing stuff as well. And more recently, brain spotting therapy as well. Yeah. So, so that's my origin story. And here I am opening a business again.
And I'll put some pictures up and share the videos and things, because I can't describe on this podcast how beautiful it is in here and how I felt when I walked in. You have it. It's just stunning, and the smells and just everything. It's just, as soon as I walked in, I felt relaxed. It's lovely.
Yeah, it's a bit of me, this is. It's kind of like how I feel on the inside and in my expression, Yeah. There's a crystal grid under the floor. There's crystals everywhere because
There's a crystal grid under the floor.
Yeah, I placed a crystal grid of healing crystals under the floor, transformational crystals as well, some really powerful ones. So when I dong the Tibetan sound bowl, that activates the crystals.
Yes.
And it also, you stand in it because it's huge, and the sound vibrates up your body, opening the chakras, ready for treatment through each of your cells. Yeah, so that's how
you
I
forgive everything. It's very important though. It's lovely, really lovely. Can I ask you a question about your mum?
Yeah.
Before she passed, were you able to make on any level peace or have a conversation regarding what happened?
Yeah,
If you're happy to talk about that.
Absolutely. I tried all my life to face it head on, and I actually affected our relationship so much. I feel like I damaged our relationship because I kept saying, you're an alcoholic, you need help, you need this is where you can go, here's a number for this, try this, and she lived in denial her whole life. She never sought any help, she never went to the doctors. She was self-medicating. And she was a very strong woman to keep this level of denial up and clean the house, cook for us. We had a roof over our head, we had clean clothes, we had meals every evening. She was incredible.
So a functioning alcoholic.
Very functioning. Yeah. And yet she would be drinking at 9 o'clock in the morning, gin.
Gosh.
So she was incredible, actually. And I have a lot of empathy for her and all alcoholics and addicts. I see their truth, She never got to that rock bottom that then triggers a change, but just before she died, and we were estranged, it wasn't easy. I had a newborn baby, and I remember going to Hereford Hospital where she was, and she was in the bed, and she was writhing around because liver failure makes you agitated.
Yeah.
Itchy, so she was scratching and agitated and itchy, and she was writhing around. And as she got calmer, she sort of had a little bit of lucidity. She came back, and I just said to her, "I love you, Mum," and she mouthed back, "I love you too," and no words came out, but I watched her lips, and that was the last thing. So I think at that point she'd accepted where she was, and she was able to acknowledge my presence. That gave me a little bit of peace.
Yeah.
But I was extremely angry when she passed away. I was like, why did you choose the bottle over us?
Yeah.
Why couldn't you choose us?
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to do a lot of work unpicking that and understand. I had to understand the illness of alcoholism and the nature of addiction to be able to come through, the other side and see it all from a different perspective, instead of being that hurt child. And I unpicked that in the therapy rooms. I unpicked that, with everything I did. Nature's always been a big healer for me.
And I think when you become a mum yourself as well, that's a big driving force into looking inward, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because that you have to parent and what you carry and how you present yourself, isn't it? But it's still huge. It doesn't take that away from what you've done, because it's brave and it's a lot.
No, you're right. Yeah. When I had my son, he's my first baby. His cries mirrored my own cries. His needs triggered my needs. I was hugely triggered by my son in the most amazing ways, and I knew that I wasn't quite right. I wasn't really coping here, and I was carrying all of that unresolved pain from my childhood that was surfacing as my baby was here, and so that battle of wanting to be the best mum that you can possibly be, but with all of this baggage, really started to show, so there was a lot of work around then as well, but also not so much work. I was just isolated really with that. I didn't know how to get through that necessarily. They were tough times. And then I think having a disabled daughter 2 years later, took it to a whole new level. I mean, my kids became my focus. I couldn't grieve for my mum and my dad, who also passed away. Actually, my dad had a brain hemorrhage and he was in a low state of consciousness for 7 years. So he was lying in a hospital bed while my mum was drinking herself to death.
Gosh.
So those two things were happening in my life when I had newborn babies and a disabled child. So I parked them, pretty much, and I focused on my family. Having Sabrina took parenting to a whole new level, parenting on steroids.
Yeah. Absolutely. Are you happy to talk about Sabrina today?
Yeah, of course.
Can you tell me about her?
Yeah, she's 11 now.
Yeah.
She's an amazing little girl. She goes to a special school here in Swindon, and she knows Benjamin, Becky, who you interviewed with Abby a few days ago. Yeah, she's amazing. She has a rare metabolic disease.
Okay.
She has autism. She has global development delay.
Yeah.
She has a lot of challenges. She has about 100 words, and she understands sign along but can't sign. I've got a feeling she understands a lot more than she can say.
Okay.
Her understanding's above and beyond what she can actually put out to the world, which is her frustration, of course.
Yeah.
But she's incredible. She's quite spiritual herself. She's the baby that really wanted all of the Reiki when she was in my tummy. I could feel my son going, "No, thank you very much, Mother."
Yeah.
But Sabrina was absorbing it all.
Yeah.
When she was born, Reiki just clicked into my hands. When you have Reiki, it just fires up when it's needed. And she used to, like, when she was younger, put her hand on my face. And so when I was Reikiing her, it would come back through to me.
Wow.
She is a vibe. She picks up on vibes so well. She's incredible. We've walked up this lane by my house a few times, and there's been a couple of dodgy deals going on with drugs. And she goes, "Hello," interrupts the deal. I'm like, "Come on, Sabrina." And she starts going, blah, 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 blah. She's sort of drawn to people. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
And she'll vibe check you in an instant. If she doesn't like you, she won't give you the time of day.
Fair enough.
She's very, very intuitive like that. I think these children with disabilities, or if they're blind or deaf, or they have a type of neurodiversity, they are in tune with the world on a higher, more sensitive level than we are.
I think, but it kind of makes sense, because it's like if you're not firing all your senses, but you are firing into certain ones, then you're going to give that over 100% almost. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
what I'm trying to say. It's like, so this isn't functioning as well, but then I have this, so then this is going to go like fire and push it out. So it kind of makes sense, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Play to your strengths.
Yeah.
And that isn't always language,
No, and also, like, if you don't have the power of speech to the extent of everybody else, then you're listening more and you take in more when you listen as opposed to when you speak, don't you?
Absolutely, because we're always thinking, what should we say next?
Yeah.
And, some
we should
people
listen more, we learn more.
Yeah, totally.
Because I used to say to children when I worked them as a teaching assistant, I said, "Why do you think you've got one mouth and two ears? Because you're supposed to listen more than you're supposed to talk."
Absolutely.
And then they go, "Oh, is that true?" I go, "Yep."
But survival state can make you chatter nonsense to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. So when a person in survival state can just be offloading all the time. I feel like I'm doing that to you right now.
No, I have to practice my listening skills. My job is they draw, they talk, I hold the space.
Nice.
I talk a lot.
Yeah.
More than I should. So the podcast is teaching me a little bit more to listen.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's such good advice, because in the treatment room, I hold space for people.
Yeah.
So before every treatment, they have 15-minute foot ritual, and I allow them to talk, and tell me what they are comfortable to tell me, so that I can then treat them more, sort of impactfully.
Yeah.
But this is their space. If they want to talk, scream, cry, shout, they can.
Yeah.
I've built this for that purpose. This is safe here. You know? So I love that.
I think I do it to show that I understand. Just say, like, I'm an empath and I get what you're I get where I'm meeting you where you are, but I have to tell you a bit about my experience. I don't know. I just do that, and sometimes it is best to let the person just finish what they're saying first before you go, oh, I've got a story about that too. Yeah, it's about me.
Yeah.
So I'm learning. Well, but it is hard, isn't it, trying to get that balance sometimes. So but this is teaching me. See, the podcast is good.
Yeah, it's great. It's such a skill.
Yeah.
Well done.
Active listening, isn't it?
That's
listening.
What it is.
Really showing that you're listening.
Yeah, not conjuring the story up next, and what can I say to that? So in some ADHD cases, I believe that there is like you chip in. Oh yeah, that I remember when that happened, and what's happening is you're actually trying to tell them that you understand. And this has happened to me too, but actually it's interrupting. And I let people cry as well. I don't rush in and rescue them anymore, I don't rush in and cuddle them necessarily. Let them cry, let them complete that feeling that they're having.
Yeah, so that must have been tricky for you, because you talked, going back to what you said earlier about the people pleasing, and I had Patty on, she was my first person, the counsellor, and we talked about the 4 Fs, and I asked her a bit more about fawn. So I'm sure you identified with that one, and I've had people come up to me and say, that one for them, that's what they identified with, and gone, okay, maybe we need to explore that a little bit further. So I imagine that really relates to where you were as a child at 7.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was also classed as the hero child. I don't know whether that's something you're aware of, but they're the ones that try to rescue the family. They're the ones that hold the family up, often looking after siblings where the addicted person can't. They're the out-facing one, the one that's standing up.
You assume a role.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah. Whereas my brother was much more the lost child. He was the one who was happy to be in his bedroom, playing with his cars. Quiet, entertaining himself. I was always thinking of the next way to fix her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really interesting, but Sabrina has really, I think, being a parent carer and seeing the world of disability through lived experience then made me feel passionate about advocacy and helping children, and that's where the Mums on a Mission sort of angle came in, because I could actually put it into action. I could actually help the families in Swindon and surrounding areas with facilities and inclusive play. So that fire and that sort of passion came up. I think perimenopause helped as well. Yeah, because you're like, let me fight for my rights.
Is that
that's the thing.
Is it? Because I feel this sort of like stronger feelings recently about things, and what I feel quite strongly about. So that ties in with that, does it?
Yeah, it brings out the activist in you.
Oh.
Yeah, and in a spiritual sense, you're moving from maiden mother into crone, which is a horrible word. I'm fully embracing it. Crone is the wise one. She is the hierarchy of the tribe, the wisdom keeper, the healer, the one that everyone goes to because you've got lived experience.
Yes.
Couple that with some activism and campaigning, and feminism. you've got quite a force.
Maybe that's why I'm doing the podcast now then.
Yeah, it was all those seeds you swallowed.
Yeah.
Dandelion.
They won't know what we're talking about. Yeah, I ate dandelion seeds, guys, but that's for another day. I've done many things. Fallen in sewage, but we'll talk about that another day. It's fine. We digress.
Yeah.
So, Mums on a Mission. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. Talk about that.
When did that kind of fully start up, and how many are there of you?
Yes.
I see bits on Facebook, but this is why we do the podcast. We talk a bit more about it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are 5 ordinary mums. Now that started, I joined about a year after they started. I think they started around 2019, just before lockdown.
Yeah.
And they started I call them the OGs, Anna, Abby and Bron. They started because they all had the shared view that there's no changing places at the hospital in the Great Western. So you go to like millions of appointments at the Great Western, and there's nowhere to change your child that now is 4, 5, 6 years old and can't fit onto a baby change.
No.
So where, Sabrina's still doubly incontinent. So, where do you go? What do you do? And that's because of lots of things. That's learning delays, that's sensory issues. There's a lot that goes into that. And yeah, that was their kind of shared mission. That first mission was about the Great Western Hospital. The pandemic obviously put the spanner in works there, so they had to wait a little bit. Everything went on hold, and that's when I joined in. And now we have 2 changing places toilets, one on the children's ward and one in urgent care at the Great Western Hospital.
Good.
So now there's 2 options when you go there.
Was that quite quick to put in place, or did it take a lot?
No, it takes a lot.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of planning, especially in an existing building. So now there is a law that you have to build a change in places toilet if you have a capacity of a certain amount of people in a public space. So that would count for hospitals, that would count for libraries, theatres, those sort of things.
Yeah.
But existing older buildings, you have to try to find the space for it and with the right spec, because a change in places toilet has an adult changing bench, so the same as my beauty couch there, that moves up and down with a hoist, because people in wheelchairs need hoisting.
Yeah.
It can have a sink, an adjustable sink that moves up and down, space for 2 or 3 carers, and sometimes a shower. That's the high spec, and it has to be a certain amount of space with the right flooring, etc., etc. And so it takes a lot. It costs a lot of money, and you have to have the room. But the brilliant thing about these changing places toilets is that they come in the sort of already made up units now that you can just slot into outdoor spaces.
Brilliant.
So we campaigned for one at Lydiard Park and we campaigned for one at Coat Water.
Yeah.
Both now have those units, outdoor units, which are completely functional.
Yeah.
So it means that when on our days out, if there is a BM, a bowel movement, we talk about poo a lot.
Yeah.
We don't have to go home anymore.
No.
Or you don't have to lie down in a disabled loo, which is when you're at those parks, they're not anywhere. They're
clean and nice, hygienic.
It's not dignified either, and it's a basic human right that everyone needs to go to the loo.
Yeah.
And the disabled community have been overlooked for many, many years.
Yeah. And
disabled loos are great, but that's only really if you can move yourself from your wheelchair to the toilet. And if you can't do that, then they're useless.
Yeah.
They're just a slightly bigger loo for normal people.
Yeah.
Typical people.
Yeah.
The change of places have been incredible, and the outlets as well. We worked with the MacArthur Glen, it was at the time. Again, that's a heritage building. Finding a space for that was difficult, and that took many years as well. But they now have a fully functional change in places toilet, so we can go to the outlet for more than half an hour, an hour. These things have massive impact.
Of course they do.
On how you function as a family.
Yeah.
Because with a disabled child, you can't just go, let's go out for dinner. There's so much prep. Is there a change in places? Is there somewhere where I can change her? What's the environment like? It's quite complex.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's brilliant that you've campaigned for that and made those big changes. That's huge. And you called yourself ordinary parents. You're not ordinary. Marvellous. Absolutely marvellous.
Well, our children are extraordinary. And I think at the time all of us were at the same special school. And we all, sort of had this shared mission, and we actually moved into play parks as well. Because that's another area where when do you see a wheelchair in a play park? Because there isn't any equipment for the wheelchair user.
Yeah.
Even the surface, if it's that bark, you can't get a wheelchair or even a buggy,
No.
So lots of education around parks, and we worked with the Coat Water Park when that was being developed.
I saw that one there.
Yeah, and we got the first wheelchair swing in Swindon.
Yeah.
Which was a massive massive, amazing thing for us.
Yeah.
And to see those children on that swing in
Yeah.
the summer is just, that just fills me with so much joy.
Exactly. Yeah. Seeing smiles on their faces.
Yeah.
When you were pregnant with Sabrina, were you aware of what was to come?
No, I actually had a completely normal, typical pregnancy. There was one measurement that was slightly off, and that was the only inkling that there could be something. But even then, we all brushed it off. The nurse, me, and my husband. And the birth was normal. I had a water birth at Swindon, and nothing to report. And then when we took her home, as I was laying her down to change her nappy, I saw her eyes roll to the back of her head, and I could see the whites of her eyes, which I thought, is that a startle reflex? And what's going on there? And I kept it to myself because I was really frightened that was going to be something big.
Yeah.
So I kept it to myself for about a week. But every time I kept putting her down, these eyes would roll.
Okay.
And I said to my husband, he was like, "Oh, I've noticed that as well, And so that was 3 weeks in, and then I think at her first weigh-in, I mentioned it to the person there, the midwife there, or whoever. And that's when, we went through the system and started going for all these tests. And that eye rolling was her epilepsy.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago she grew out of the epilepsy.
Really?
So she's been medicated since she was 2. And she's actually, it's a miracle she's grown out of epilepsy, because children with CDG don't normally grow out of epilepsy.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
Very unusual. And that one piece of information has allowed me to open my business, because it took a layer of stress off the back of me, because that hypervigilance and that fear that comes with epilepsy is just a lot.
Yeah. Because obviously we spoke about it on the podcast with Becky, so she was saying obviously left hospital, and then it was when I think when he was 5 months, and sort of noticing things, and then not tracking the leg.
That's right.
And then suddenly, you put your hand up, okay, this isn't right, and then you're into a whole host of appointments, and then it all unravels, and it's more than you imagined.
Yeah, absolutely. And having typical children already, you know the difference. That's why I knew straight away something was wrong. I knew straight away something was wrong. Now we say there isn't anything wrong with her. When we get that question, what's wrong with her? Oh, nothing. She just happens to have.
Yeah.
She doesn't suffer as such. Yes, there might be times when she's in pain, and autism is difficult in this world, but it's the world that needs to change, and not Sabrina.
Yes.
And we were the same. We took home a healthy, happy child that slotted into family life like nothing else. Amazing second child. Yeah. She was watching, but then we realised she wasn't picking up toys. She wasn't engaging. She was really, the term was floppy, but she was really low muscle tone. So we'd put our son over the shoulder in the same age, and he could hold his head up slightly for a couple of seconds, and she wasn't doing that at all.
Yeah.
There was no tummy time. She didn't sit up until she was 3. So you can see the delay here. Normally children can sit up sort of 5, 6 months, 7 months. And she wasn't walking until she was 5. Yeah. So it was all very delayed, and we didn't know that she was going to walk. They couldn't tell us whether she would walk or not.
Gosh. So
we had this all of our efforts was in physio and balance and walking frames and standing frames. That was a lot of her life was therapy at the beginning.
When my children walked, it was an emotional day, but I can't imagine how that must have been for you at 5.
Yeah, it was incredible. I'm just thinking about it now. She walked 1 week before she took her first steps, 1 week before we got married. So she could trottle down the aisle.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And on Sabrina's World, if you go on there, there's actually a walking journey of her beginning to walk, and then her actually, she walked at Grandma's house down the corridor, and the carpets, and she waddled down there, and she was so proud, and we were like, and then we had a big bowl of pasta because Grandma's Italian,
Love that.
we celebrated. But she's now she's running, Fran. I can't keep up with her.
Oh my gosh.
But she runs in a way that's very dangerous. She's like no danger awareness.
Yeah.
And she'll run always towards water. So if you're at Lydiard Park, she's drawn to water.
Interesting.
So it's a bit of that hypervigilance.
What month was she born in?
Month.
Yeah.
November.
Oh, so she's not Pisces then, like my daughter. No. She had a water birth with. You did have a water birth.
I did. Yeah.
My Lucy is March, Pisces, loves water, had a water birth.
Amazing. Yeah.
I'm not massively into horoscopes, but I did just wonder.
Yeah, that's very water sign. Yeah. So what is she?
Sagittarius.
She's Sagittarius.
Oh no, it depends.
No, my
depends
mother
where.
was Sagittarius. Scorpio. I think she is.
Yeah. I'm a Virgo. Through
and through. Grounded. I'm Capricorn. We get on.
We do get on. I didn't know that actually. I knew that about Virgo. So I say I don't know about horoscopes, but clearly I do. Interesting. Yeah.
Interesting.
I was supposed to be born. I was born 20th of September. I was supposed to be born the 4th of October.
Gosh.
2 weeks early. My mum thought she just needed the toilet. So I was being born in the toilet. Yeah.
That's a whole new start.
That's a whole other story. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. So anyway, we digress.
Mm.
Does she, I know you said about her running and all the rest of it, but does she get tired?
Yeah, that's
because like so short, like is it like spurts of like and then she's tired, like she can't go like
no, she can't run a marathon. No. She wears lycra shorts, DMOs they're called, which holds her hips in the right place.
Yeah.
Because she's got this low tone that stayed with her, so you also hypermobility. So her legs go out at a funny angle. Her body moves funny, and she fatigues really quickly. So that's why we need the buggy or the wheelchair, because she just can't keep going.
No.
And I can see she puts her hands on her lower back, and you're like, oh, okay,
yeah,
you're tired,
And she might not be able to tell you that, but you can see.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm always watching her carefully. Yeah.
And what's her brother like with her? What's their relationship like?
So it's been interesting. I mean, obviously he's a young carer. He was brushing her teeth, when he was like 4 years old. Yeah. They've got a special bond, but it has been rocky, and she's needed our attention, and he's been in the bedroom, It's every parent carer's kind of balance and juggle is to have that time for, each of your children, but ultimately I don't treat them the same because she needs extra help, but their bond now that he's nearly 14, he's got more patience for her, and they scoot up and down this garden on their scooters, and he shows her how to do things. He was jumping on it the other day and she was trying to do it, and I was like, let's not try that. She's such a risk taker. But she absolutely adores him. Sometimes she calls him daddy, and I think that's because of his role to her. So and I think I don't want Luca's existence to be all about Sabrina, but these child carers, they have a special edge to them, a compassionate edge to them, a more kind of worldly view of disability and how that is impacted through the family, through them, and the rest of the world. They have that knowledge. A lot of them go into very compassionate roles, later in life, looking after people, making disabled lives easier. We'll see. Watch this space, but I hope he gets the opportunity to travel the world and do what he wants to do. Because ultimately we had children late, my husband and I. I was 41 when I had Sabrina. I'm not going to be around forever. My hugest fear is, what does she do after we're gone? And if that falls to Luca, then I want him to live before that.
Go and do all the things that he dreams of.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Okay. Can we talk a bit more about Moon on a Stick and everything you offer?
Yes.
Wish everyone could see this really.
You're all welcome to come.
I am. I'm going to be booking in with you for sure.
Thank you. It's a combination of my previous career being in holistic beauty therapy. I worked in Cologne in Lucknow Park. I managed the spa there.
Wow.
So I've seen high end. I worked in London for 9 years, managing businesses there on the high street. So I've seen high street, high end, and I've had my own business. I've travelled quite a lot, India, Sri Lanka, and I love Ayurvedic medicine.
Yeah.
So I've brought all of that knowledge together in this one melting pot.
Yeah.
But here I am much more balanced and grounded. I don't overgive. I have good boundaries. I have to, because I have family that need me, you know. So I work mornings and evenings.
Yeah.
I make sure I schedule in rest. I have a Thursday to write, and I write over the weekends. It's all that sort of like balance coming in here.
Yeah.
I don't overstretch. I don't get overwhelmed. I don't burn out like I used to. So, you know, my business here is, I'm a better therapist.
Yeah.
You know.
But and that's the advice you would give to anyone walking in here, isn't it? Like, is getting the balance right. So you're practicing what you preach. So I think that's so important.
I hope so, yeah. And I'm still a work in progress. You know, I brain spot every day. I use brain spotting, and I use meditation, and I use all my spiritual tools that I have, you know, and I try to live it. I understand, you know, I've been there, and I understand burnout. I understand parent caring burnout. I understand how a lot of us are living in dissociation because it's too difficult to be present the whole time when your child is having a screaming meltdown for the sixth time that day. Or like with Sabrina, she's extremely repetitive. You know, how can you keep sane? I find it really difficult if she just likes the first 7 seconds of a song and she needs that replayed 50 times.
Oh, wow.
How do you stay sane in that? You disassociate, you know, you go mentally from that.
Yeah.
Now that's something that that I work with daily to unpick that and become very present in my body. And that's what I do here. I bring people back to their selves. You know, that's been everything about me from where I started in my life of origin, and the dissociation and the squashing down your feelings, you know, to parenting Sabrina and coming now to open my business is about coming back to yourself, coming back to your own authenticity. You're coming back into your body. We all live in our head. We live out here in the world. We live in distraction. You know, there's so much distraction. We live in scrolling, in Netflix. You know, in disassociating from everything.
Yeah.
And it's about just coming into a peaceful place to be yourself, and I can hold space for you to come home and release what you need to release.
Yeah, which is why people do cry and...
Bring it on, I say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had, you know, through brain spotting, you know, I've had all sorts of emotions flying around, anger, frustration. I'm like, it does not faze me one bit. You can bring it here and you can let it out. Yeah. I'll come and howl at the moon if you like, you know. It's just like, take it and get it out of your body, because if it stays in your body, how does it manifest? Is it fibromyalgia that a lot of parent carers have? You know, is it IBS? Is it the lockjaw that you constantly have? Is it the migraines? Is it the tension in your shoulders because you're carrying so much? Is it the arthritic knees because your inflexibility in your life is causing your joints to seize? You know, there's always a reason why our bodies are out of balance. Yeah.
And a lot of people will be locked into maybe going to see, you know, somebody once a week for like back pain or something like that. And I'm not saying they haven't got a physical pain, but if you're carrying an emotional pain, then you need to look at the root cause, don't you?
And that's the thing. The body only has one nervous system, so it can't tell the difference between an emotional pain and a physical pain. And there could be both. And then more often is a lot of emotional pain that manifests in the body. But the nervous system sees it as the same. And then you get diagnosed at the doctors, and then you get on medication that actually triggers other stuff, you know. And I'm not saying there isn't a place for that. I'm saying, you know, there definitely is. And antidepressants and things are very, very useful. There is an alternative way, which is tapping back into the body's own wisdom. And with brain spotting, it's an eye position that's linked into the brain, which connects to the body. So by eye gazing at a certain position, you can release pain, trauma and stuff through the body.
I find this so interesting.
I thought, because it taps into what you do as well, Fran, with your drawing and talking, you know, tapping into the subconscious. You're tapping into with brain spotting, you're tapping underneath language. You don't need language. You know, I've cleared things and traumas and pain from the uterus, from the baby, because they feel what the mother feels. I felt what the mother felt. You know, you feel their cortisol through the umbilical cord because, you know, they're stressed. They're living in survival state. There was a study done on, you know, the Nazis and the Jewish community and how their babies, you know, survived, and what kind of, you know, Gabor Mate is one of them, and his work. So yeah, it's fascinating.
It is. I was listening to something, and I'm not going to say this right, I know that, but I was listening to Mylene class on, I don't know if you know, can't think of his name, Paul Brunson. And he does Celebs Go Dating, but he's like a relationship expert as well. He does that Married at First Sight. But he had Mylene class on, and she was talking about how many babies she'd lost. But they were saying they'd done a study into what happens with, obviously you lose your baby, but what happens with, I don't know what it's called, what is released into the mother that's left behind and that's absorbed into the body.
Yeah.
So you are carrying a part of your baby.
The DNA.
Something.
Maybe.
I know I'm not saying that quite right.
No, I know
it was
what you mean.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And it explained a lot as
and
well.
Actually and comforting.
Yes.
Because you carry
that's
that.
what she was talking about.
Yeah. That's powerful.
So I know I'm not saying that quite right, because I sometimes I listen in the car all the time to podcasts. And this is what I'm saying is, like, people say I haven't got time, but you do. Like, if you're in the car or you're doing things at home, and so I take in a lot of things.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm only taking in maybe half the information. So I know I've not explained that quite correctly, but I did know it felt like, and what she said is a comfort. So the body is amazing, isn't it? And it's fascinating. All these things you learn, and that's why it's so important to learn them, because then you feel more empowered when you understand things a little bit better about what's going on with your body. And but that's what I was saying about people being locked into, like, going to see a chiropractor every week, and I've got this pain, and it's almost like joining like a cult, because you're like, I've got to go and do this every week, and it's like, well, maybe you don't, maybe there's another way, and maybe you do need to explore, like, the root cause, and maybe you are holding some emotional pain, maybe, like, as you've just explained really, really well, better than I am talking right now.
Slimming World was one for me. So for years I went to Slimming World, and I'm not bad mouthing Slimming World, but for me, I was trying to deal with emotional eating through the view of Slimming World and control. Controlling, and that isn't, I find, surrendering. So I eat chocolate because I want to feel love from my mother. I was lacking that. So I eat chocolate. I can relate that directly to that. And that's why I'm saying I'm work in progress. Because occasionally I binge eat chocolate, and I don't beat myself up for that now. I know why I'm eating it. And when my life becomes difficult and I might be reaching an overwhelm, I reach for the chocolate. My mum reached for the alcohol. We all reach for something.
Of course.
And it's understanding that, and not be and having some compassion for yourself and for what you've been through, and stop trying to force, you know, other people's ideas as well. Come back to your body's wisdom. You know,
not conform in a certain way that you're being told to, but maybe like tap into what is really going on, and acknowledging that, and being kinder to yourself is huge, isn't it?
Yeah, massive. So, that's a big piece of work for me. Inner child work, and learning to be compassionate to myself.
I'm quite interested in reflexology. I keep looking at reflexology, and I don't know why. There's something there that's niggling at me. And I'm like, oh, you know, because I understand a little bit about that. And then we were talking about, so I had Amy on from Wiltshire Family Therapy, and she was talking about tapping. So they were all talking about it from this side as opposed to this.
Yes.
But all of that.
Oh, you should come for some reflexology then, or go and get it from someone. Because reflexology is incredible. So the whole of the body is mapped into the feet. And you can access the meridians, which is also part of Chinese medicines, through the feet, through the body. You're working really with the energetic highways of the body. Where there's disease and where there's different issues in the body, there's energy blocks. So if you can release that energy, if you can get the blood flow going, you know, it starts to heal itself. The body can heal itself. We just don't give it the time and the space and the opportunity to do so.
But I think, like you said, people will reach for, and we're not knocking it, as we said, but like reach for medicine and I think things that mask and may work for a short amount of time, but actually looking a little bit deeper, and it's all really interesting. So tell me a little bit about what you offer here.
Yeah, I still haven't told you. It's
all right.
Basically, I have a set of a treatment list. You can go on my website and have a look, moononthestick.uk. I do reflexology, I do facials, I do crystal therapy, I do Reiki, I do frequency healing, which is different to Reiki, which I'm moving more into. I'm going back to Glastonbury and doing more work with that. Going for a glow up, and I do Indian head massage, but what I love to do is actually create a treatment for you. So if you wanted to have reflexology and a bit of healing, fabulous, let's bring it on. If you want to do a bit of brain spotting while you're having your reflexology and a head, and then a bit of a head massage, great, we'll do that. I do what you need. You know, if someone comes in with shoulder ache, shoulder pain, well, let's massage those shoulders. Let's get to the nitty gritty of it. And let's work your feet on the shoulder meridian, and let's put some healing in. So I create, a bespoke treatment for clients. And you either book an hour for £50, or you book an hour and 15 for 60, or you can come for an hour and 45 minutes. The treatment time's up to you. And I have many different tools that I can use: tuning forks, sound, all the different healing modalities, crystals.
I think it's great, because I think you might just get people that just go, right, I want this, and you go, okay, but then you might have someone that actually wants to sit down and talk to you first and almost have a bit of a consultation, and then they can tell you maybe what's going on for them personally, and then you can create something bespoke. So that's really important, I think.
I mean, you come into this space, I start to pick up things. I can feel with you, Fran, the busyness in your mind. I don't know if you have any sort of trying to switch that off is a challenge. You've got ideas, you've got this, you've got a lot of mental energy.
I can
feel that. I don't know if you ever get headaches. But I would say, I can feel this. Would you like me to work on that today?
I was going to ask you what you could pick up from me. My mind doesn't stop. I've got lots of ideas.
Do you have trouble sleeping?
No, because of my herbal teas. I talk about herbal teas a lot on my page. Been drinking them for like 4 years.
Amazing.
Yeah. I don't sit down very much, but I do make sure that I drink my herbal tea. My daughter has herbal tea as well, because she's quite gets very overwhelmed. So I work alongside her quite a lot, the body doubling thing.
Nice. Yeah.
It's been working quite well, as opposed to before of like, you've just listed loads of stuff, just do one of the things on it. Whereas now I go, what do you think we should do first?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I need to go to the toilet, so I'm going to go and do that then. Go and, as I call it, go and have a big fat wee. And then she's like,
I call it.
And then I talk to her through the door, and because it's, release, isn't it? You're having a release. Like, if you need the toilet, you're agitated already. So go and have the fat wee first. Oh, I hope she's not going to kill me for saying all this. She's not going to listen. And then I go, right, what do you think we should do next? And then we figure out like a plan, and then we work our way through it. And then my other daughter's going, why are you doing all that for her? Because the other one's self-sufficient.
Yeah.
But this one, she's so super intelligent.
Yeah.
But then she's not very good at the practicalities of doing all the things that she needs to. So she's super intelligent. The other one's like self-sufficient. She's like, why? And youngest is my baby, obviously. So I think she thinks I'm pandering, but I have to do this because the stress for me otherwise.
Yes.
So we work together.
Amazing.
I'm quite good. But then if you catch me on an off day, like if I was tired or hungry, I might revert to just do it.
Yeah.
Because we're human, aren't we? So, but I do try, and, and she's like, she's asked me to help her as well. So it's like, she's like, well, you're great with all the children you work with. Why can't you help me? And I'm like, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Taking it home. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So, my mind is busy. But no, I do sleep well.
Good. That's
it's just,
really
I think I
positive.
said to you at the start, my back is causing me some problems at the moment. So do need to address that.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's at the base.
Right, the lower back.
Yeah, before it was at the top.
Yeah.
And I had issues, and I was doing the...
Oh, I could hear that.
You hear that? But it was bringing it all together. I wasn't releasing it because I need someone to... So that's been sorted by my lovely friend Becky, who works for, oh my gosh, Sunring Retreats. She's coming on in a few weeks. She's great. But yeah, I've got problems at the back and my hips and things like that. So
yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Lower back and hips. There can be a lot of trauma stored in the hips.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe just
Yeah, and down the left side of the body is the female line, and down the right side of the body is the male line.
Yeah.
The left is the past, the right is the present and the future. So
mine's on my left.
yeah,
I think that's where my curve goes. I've got an
and you've
S-shaped curve.
actually got a physical curve
Yeah, I've got
as well,
scoliosis,
so that will knock the hips.
Yeah.
Really interesting. But yeah, I mean, as much everyone should try to get as much, if you like it, get as much body work as possible. By that I mean massage, chiro, osteopathy, swimming, movement, dance, yoga. Do as much body work as you physically can.
Yeah.
We're not built to sit at a desk all day.
No.
You know? And you know, even me, I need to do more. But
I think that doesn't help. I do a lot of sitting, whereas when I was a teaching assistant, you do all your steps by 12 o'clock. Whereas now, I'm in the car or I'm sitting with a child.
Yes.
So I was swimming in the mornings. I need to go back to that.
That'd be nice.
And I'm trying to do a bit of I go and see a friend and we do some weightlifting together.
That's great in Perry as
well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Keep those ligaments strong.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry, we've just gone on to me, which isn't
that's okay.
where we were going.
You might like the so I have a lady called Sharon's Products, and she makes body butters, beautiful facial oils, and she does her own teas.
Oh yes.
And I'll give you her card.
Yes.
But her business is called Sharon's, and it's all natural, all made in Swindon, and she's absolutely fabulous. Her knowledge is absolutely incredible.
I would like that, please. Thank you.
I'll get it in.
And this is the great thing about talking to people, because then they tell you about other people, and then it leads me on to, not just for the podcast, but just for just meeting people and seeing what people offer, and I just find it all very, very interesting.
I think that's really it's interesting, because I was thinking you're bringing a community together here.
Yeah.
We live so far outside of the tribe now. You know, tribal living is how humans should or are at our best.
Yeah.
When you've got people in the community to help you, you know, I try, like my neighbour, you know, Steve showed you where to park.
We're best friends now, me and Steve.
Best friends.
Yeah.
I've got people in this street and the surrounding streets that are part of my tribe that I can call on if I'm desperate, you know. Building that team around you, building that tribe around you is what you're doing with your podcast. And I think you should have a massive party at the year one and we all come together. Yeah. Because, you know, you've got some incredible guests. They're all local.
Yeah.
We have a lot of, you know, sort of like crossover of people.
Absolutely.
Your work is fantastic. You're bringing the tribe together.
Thank you.
We're all so isolated.
Well, that's right. And it's just nice to meet people. So what we're going to do is and I'll add you to it today, is I've created a community chat on Facebook. Ooh. So everyone that I'm interviewing is going on to the chat, and then we're going to do a networking event. And we're all going to come together.
Oh, you are going to do that? Fabulous. Yeah. Of course you are.
Yeah, so every time somebody new comes on, they are added to the chat.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so we can all meet and swap ideas, and, you know, some of us might end up all working together at some point under one big reef. You know, that we're talking about long-term here, but what we can achieve.
It's connections, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's connections, and it's so important. Going back to parent carers, where I'm passionate, I spoke to Jess, our mutual friend, yesterday, and she said, I said to her, do you know what, I haven't been very good, I haven't really written my book very much, I can't find the time with this new business, you know, and I'm neglecting my book. And she went, do you know what, Lou, you can't go under. And I just thought, you know, that is what every parent carer lives by. You cannot go under. You cannot get overwhelmed, because who's going to hold it up? And these sort of podcasts open up that community. Which is fantastic.
And it's all documented now. I know you're going to do your book, and I know you know all this in your head, your life, but I had somebody on here, Sian was on here, the breathwork, and she said, just telling her story and putting it on the podcast, documented for life now.
It is, isn't it? It's like, I better sign it.
In audio.
Yeah, I'm determined to finish this book. I've sent a couple of bits off to competitions, but I've got the overview if you want me to read it quickly.
I was just going to ask, we have time. I was going to ask if you could. That would be great.
No problem. So I've written about 800 words, rough draft, and I've sent a few bits off to competitions, but this was the overview. So my memoir is about growing up in a household that looked fine. My mother was a functioning alcoholic, graceful, capable, respected. Behind closed doors, alcohol was ever present and never mentioned. I learned to read the room from the depth of her voice, the width of her gait, and the spinning metal cap on the gin bottle. This isn't a memoir about chaos. It's a quiet story about the slow, subtle erosion of self that happens in the presence of hidden addiction. I tried to be the good girl. I absorbed everything, and the silence shaped me. The story begins with a quiet vow, a promise I would fix her. It took decades to realise the only person I could save was me. This book is about breaking a cycle. I write to offer solidarity to others who grew up around unspoken addiction, to show what it looks like from the inside out, and to raise my own children with the freedom not to repeat it. Motherhood stirred my memories, but it also gave them meaning. My son's cries mirrored my own unmet needs. His vulnerability, and later my disabled daughter's, forced me to confront the ways I had buried myself to survive. The memoir is written in vignette form, chronologically and guided by what I was ready to face. Each scene stands on its own. The manuscript is around 80,000 words. The first third is polished and the remainder is in development, including the ending. Whether it closes with a call to Nakoa, the birth of my children, or the rise of my healing practice, Moon on a Stick Wellness Limited, the heart of the story is clear. This is a reckoning, not a revenge. A story of love, rupture, loss, and the quiet, lifelong journey back to myself.
Absolutely gorgeous. Thank you for reading that to me.
My pleasure.
And to us, the listeners.
My pleasure.
Yeah. It's really special that you're sharing that, you know.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad.
Is there anything else you want to talk to me about today?
No, but if you need to see any more of me, like literally you've heard enough, but you can go onto my Moon on a Stick.
Yeah.
UK.
I'm going to share the links so people
Yeah.
can see and they can choose what they follow, because obviously you've got your other page of Mum's on a Mission and
Mum's on a Mission, Daughter of the Bottle, and Sabrina as well.
Yeah, and Sabrina as well, yeah. So anyone that resonates with anything that you've said, they can follow.
Yeah.
So that's great. Thank you so much for your time and for my gorgeous herbal tea, which was amazing, by the way.
You're welcome. Come anytime.
Lovely. Thank you.
Fran.